Unchecked Radio presents The Center with your host, DC Radical One.
Greetings, Black family, and welcome to On the Wake Up Radio. I am your host, DC Radical One, and you have entered the center. Shout out to our wonderful producer, Cindy Ashby. You can check us out on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes Podcast, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, and iHeartRadio On the Wake Up Radio. I noticed something weird happening with the intro, so y'all let me know if you can hear me clearly before we get started. As I get things set up and try to figure out why the intro was so weird. And all right, thank you, sister. How is everyone doing tonight? First of all, let me see who's here. Sister Farnessa was here 10 minutes early today. BB4 straight black pride to her. BB4 straight black pride to Spirit, Mind, Character, Soul, who I was talking to. She was trying to make me late for the program tonight earlier. BB4 straight black pride, brother, you got ripped off. And BB4 to the integrative school psychologist. Good to see you back in the building. I thought I saw Brother Elijah. Okay, yeah. BB4 straight black pride to Brother Elijah. As I try to figure out what music we're going to do tonight. For those who weren't here last night and who didn't hear last night's program, I suggest very much that you check out last night's program. Those who were here, y'all can testify. Peace and straight black pride to Brother Crow. So y'all let me know, is the music too loud, or is it I don't know why I don't test these balances before, but I don't. Let's just be honest. But y'all let me know if the music is cool. We're gonna talk about something that pisses me off, just to be honest. And so I need some mellow music because I'm going to get irritated thinking about this. I got irritated last night. No pun intended. Brother, you say it's too low? Interesting. Well, that's about high as I'm willing to go with the music. Nah, I didn't. And I'm drinking coffee right now, so y'all might, who knows, I might spaz out again. But because I was learning stuff as y'all was learning. Greetings to Brother Tony. So when I saw the numbers that the sheer amount of wealth that a single small hat was carting up out of just a part of the Congo. Yeah, that was crazy. So, that was that. Tonight's discussion. So last night we was I don't even remember the title, but we were dealing with why is everybody in the West, at least low key, ignoring the Congo and Sudan crises. So we went over the history of that and broke down some things and connected some dots that nobody else is going to really connect, for real. Just being honest, it's very few people that would connect. So tonight we're going to talk about some things that I'm going to just be honest, man. At first, I was going to call this Black people, we have a problem. And we do. But I decided to just call it the pedo files, right? Now, I just saw somebody, they asked me a question, and they were like, 'cause they saw the thumbnail, they're like, where is Puppy? And I'm like, he's in his own, because I just got some information about him. He's in his own, that's gonna be his own show. Because my understanding is the whole Puppy situation is looking like a long-term, high-level honeypot operation. So connected with and he's the protege, and I use that word, a mentee, that might be the proper word, of Clive Davis. So that's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother thing. So tonight, this is what happened. This is the origin of the show. And I like to give y'all my background on how I think. The person on the screen, he's on the screen, right? Yeah, he's on the screen. Eligio, Bishop, whatever, better known as Nature Boy, was recently convicted. Now, he was convicted of violating a woman. And when I say they threw the book at him, I've never heard of, I didn't even know, based upon his charges, you could get life. But what's weird is he wasn't charged with any type of violation of children. He was charged with violation of a woman, and then something they call revenge. Cause I'm trying to skirt around words here for YouTube. Revenge movies. Revenge intimate movies. Okay, that's the best I can do. Y'all get it. I realize that people who are monetized, the reason why they dance around certain stuff, because it's part of the YouTube thing. Now, this is what I don't understand. How is it that you can't talk about certain things that are in the news when the news reports them as they are? Right? Because we're talking about news here. So I never understood why, and still don't, you can't talk about them as they are, right? But we're going to do the best we can to talk about them as well, as they are. And here's my thing. So when I saw this, and I saw people kind of low-key defending this dude, and that was weird. Did y'all see it? Okay, that's all. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I've never had some of these issues that I've started to see. I guess as long as we got the sound, and maybe I got too much stuff loaded up. I don't know what's going on right now. But anyway, what happened to my music? Oh, it's gonna be one of those nights. YouTube or StreamYard, they're having fun. Hey, let's go back. Let's try it again. Could be human error. I'm willing to admit human error. All right. So, African American Maryland movement, greetings to you. But as I noticed this, it made me think, because I saw some people kind of support the dude a little bit. It was weird, because I always thought he was a weirdo from the beginning. Nature Boy. And then I started thinking about the fact that we have, a lot of way more known than this dude. High level known. Just over the last 15 years, let's say. High level known perverts, weirdos, who have achieved a high status in the community. And when they're exposed as weirdos, nobody either wants to believe it or they want to support the person. So I'm saying that there's something in the minds of Black people where we see that the person is foul in the most foul way. If you off somebody, if you unalive somebody, you can give me a justification for that based on self-defense, based on a lot of things, right? There's no justification for you dealing intimately with underage people, right? Like, there's nothing you can say to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're over, especially let's say you're over 25 and the person you're dealing with is 16 or under, I don't care. It's nothing you saying to me is going to justify that. Like, there's no talking. You know what I'm saying? The only talking we talking about is disposal. That's it. If we're not talking with you about it, we're talking amongst ourselves about disposal. That's it. But what I see a lot of times, and this is why I brought it up, is because when I look at these different people, it's always somebody defending the people. And it's not like it's like two people. It's like a lot of people. And then nobody even wants to like really say anything bad about the people. Even after their cases are adjudicated, people come out, man, people testify. People that didn't testify come out and be like, man, I ain't want to testify, but yeah, that dude foul. Like, evidence. And we still be justifying and making up stuff. And I'm just like, bro, black people, we got a problem. And then I was saying, this is something I saw on Twitter a while ago, and people was talking about first them. And I'm gonna just be honest, it's people that be like following Tariq. Like first them. Like, first of all, the nature of the European is homophilia. Right? So whatever. You know what I'm saying? We talk about the people in our community. We don't regulate nothing in their community anyway. We ain't regulating the people in our community. Because when you bring it up, everybody backing up the homophile. Black power to RBG Patah. You see what I'm saying? So when you try to step to them, like, you literally, this is what we found out years ago. And then I'm gonna get into this case and I'm gonna, get into it. When I say we, I'm talking about straight black crowd. Self-irritated Genie, brother from DC, New York. This is what we found out because y'all know Genie's been talking about this stuff for years. And we had a meeting one time. We were like, man, what should we focus on? And I said, yo, and I just jumped up all eager and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Man, we got to do something about this sexual abuse. And he was like, yeah, you're right. Bruh, I might as well have said, we have to go to Mount Olympus and slay a dragon and behead Zeus. You understand what I'm saying? Because we had no clue the level of protection that some people have, the level of support that some people have, the connections that different people have. And this may end up being a two-parter tonight, because it's certain connections that I'm probably not going to get to, but I'm going to be honest. I'm almost finished editing the 2019 Dr. Khaled lecture. You might want to get the 2019 Dr. Khaled lecture. I'm going to keep that one at $20, even though it's a classic. You might want to get it. There's some things that you probably have forgotten, or you might not know, that deal with what we're going to talk about tonight. So, with that being said, we're going to start off with this case because it just happened, and then we're going to, and I don't even know what order I'm going to do it, but anyway, let's get into this case. All right, this is from Black Enterprise, and Okay. Wow. Oh, it's definitely gonna be one of those days. Says alleged Georgia cult leader Elijah Bishop sentenced to life. To life for sexually violating a woman. Says Bishop, leader of an alleged cult, was found guilty on all counts, including sexual violation, false imprisonment, and revenge movies charges, which it's just interesting that I just didn't know you get life for this stuff. So, Complex reports that Elijah Bishop, leader of the alleged cult Carbon Nation, was found guilty on March 1st on all counts, including what we just talked about. The verdict delivered by a Georgia jury marks a significant milestone in a case that offered a disturbing glimpse into the operations of the purported cult. Bishop, who also goes by the names Nature Boy and Three God, I guess, not sure, faced allegations of sexually violating a former cult member, attempting to escape, followed by posting explicit content online. The trial unfolded, shedding light on the cult's practices, particularly its use of social media to propagate its quote-unquote holistic lifestyle and teachings. During the sentencing hearing that followed the verdict, several of Bishop's former cult members provided emotional testimonies, revealing the psychological impact of his actions. According to Fox 5 Atlanta, one woman testified, "He said my soul belonged to him. And there was absolutely no saying no to him," illustrating the coercive nature of Bishop's influence. Right? Now, surprisingly, during the hearing, Bishop appeared dismissive, engaging in casual conversation with the bailiff and displaying the lack of remorse, prompting scolding from the Cobb County Superior Court Judge Stacey Heydrich. Bishop's attempt to communicate with the judge and the victims resulted in a muted courtroom, emphasizing the gravity of the charges. In his brief remarks before sentencing, Bishop replied, "Are you happy?" To which the judge responded, "I'm not answering any questions of yours." Bishop, seemingly unrepentant, stated, I forgive you." Addressing the judge, Judge Heydrich, unswayed by Bishop's words, characterized him as a master manipulator and a classic narcissist. The prosecutors pushed for the maximum sentence, highlighting Bishop's lack of remorse throughout the trial. Despite the defense argument citing his troubled childhood, Judge Heydrich sentenced Bishop to life without parole. Additionally, he received a consecutive 10-year sentence with concurrent sentences for the revenge movies. Judge Heydrich imposed strict conditions prohibiting any contact, direct or indirect, with the victims and restricting Bishop from profiting from his crimes, including books, deals, or other means. The defense has 30 days to file a motion for a new trial. Bishop's supporters, though not present during the verdict, criticized the judge, were just one-sided, asserting the case was a setup. They vowed to appeal the conviction. The sentencing brings a measure of closure to the victims, with Judge Heydrich expressing hope that they can find peace, at least beginning with the imposed sentence. Now, that the thing about that is just the harshness of the sentence based upon what he was convicted of. I'm not gonna lie, I find it interesting. I'm trying to figure out what type of precedent they're trying to set here, because it's obvious that the judge wanted to set a precedent, because this dude's a weirdo, no question. We're gonna prove that in a minute. But a life sentence without parole, where we got people who murdered multiple people and haven't gotten that, I'm not gonna lie, that's interesting. I'm not sure what that's about, but what we are going to do is we're going to look at a video of his sentencing, and where they just break it down, and you can just see the way that you can see how it was covered. So we're going to pause our music and we're going to load up this clip.
Guilty.
A guilty verdict on all charges against an alleged cult leader accused of raping a follower who tried to escape. Good evening, I'm Russ Spencer.
I'm Courtney Bryant. Jurors in DeKalb County came back with 5 guilty verdicts against alleged sex cult leader Eligio Bishop. But he wasn't even in the courtroom to hear the verdict.
Fox 5's Tyler Fingert has been following this trial since the beginning. He joins us now with a closer look at that verdict and the sentence Bishop will face. Tyler?
Yeah, Russ, good evening to you. Alleged cult leader Eligio Bishop is now a convicted rapist, and just moments ago, the judge sentenced him to life without the possibility of parole.
I understand that you all have reached a verdict. Is that correct?
After about 6 hours of deliberations, a DeKalb County jury found alleged cult leader Eligio Bishop guilty of all 5 charges he faced, including rape and false imprisonment.
Guilty.
The jury found Bishop raped a former group member as she tried to escape the alleged cult Carbon Nation and then posted revenge porn of the woman online. Bishop wasn't in the courtroom for the verdict because of COVID concerns, but watched from the DeKalb County jail and let out an audible noise before the judge ordered his mic off.
All right. Go ahead and mute courtroom C, please.
A woman who has covered the group online for years believes the jury got it right.
I believe that it's a just verdict. I believe that the courtroom today was very quiet and somber.
Following the verdict, Judge Stacey Heydrich moved right into the sentencing hearing where Bishop's victims testified. He appeared to make fun of them.
He said my soul belonged to him, and there was absolutely no saying no to him.
You were our guy. Now you're a prisoner, but you imprisoned us.
Bishop then addressed the judge.
I forgive you, and I still love you.
And the judge said she would have been lenient if it wasn't for how he acted during the trial. He was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Judge Stacey Heydrich called him a, quote, master manipulator and a narcissist. We are live in DeKalb County tonight. Tyler Fingert, Fox 5 News.
Wow. Tyler, thanks.
Y'all know I did it again. I did it again. Thank you, brother. Yeah, I see. I was muted. So my bad. This is what I'm saying. Y'all see the way that it was presented, and you see the judge's reasoning for giving him the sentence that she gave him. But what I think it happened really is that there's other things that she saw that wasn't presented that really let us know how dangerous this dude really is. Because the reality of the situation is, based upon those charges, the sentence doesn't really fit legally. And I don't like the judge doing that, because that opens up a way for him to have legal recourse for a new trial or appeal and all that. Nah, we don't need all that. But what I'm going to do real quick is, because I forgot, I'm going to show y'all where his downfall started. And the reason I'm going to show you that is because whenever you want to figure out, right? Anybody that's out here that's new to the movement, you see this stuff. Whenever you want to figure out whether or not somebody is serious or not, let me see if I got the clip. That's all you need to know right there. See that? But you see a Negro talking some spiritual mumbo jumbo, back to nature, spiritual love, everybody, blah, blah, blah. Just look for the European that's there. When you see a Negro with a European female, you already know he just some type of weirdo, right? So this was as far as I'm concerned, this is the beginning of his downfall. This is why the judge gave the book to him, and this is why I don't care, right? It said, this is her, the European female, Kayla Reed. I just felt like I belonged here, but she was leaving. She's from Canada. Says Kayla Reed says she did not expect her story to generate what she called negative media attention, and she's coming back to Newfoundland because she didn't want anyone getting into trouble because of her. There's the Corner Brook woman who's been in Costa Rica with what her family calls a cult. Says she's coming back to Newfoundland to avoid getting in trouble, and took to Facebook Live Tuesday with the man her family suspects of having too much control in her life. She says, I don't want anyone getting hurt because I'm here. She added that she decided to come back to what she called Babylon, referring to Canada, so that no one in Costa Rica would get in trouble. Reed, 21, was reported missing in February, although the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary closed the missing person file last week after making contact with her. Reed was in Costa Rica with Elijah Bishop, 34, who calls himself Nature Boy, and his group of followers. On Tuesday, Bishop and Reed, who also goes by the name Sun Ray, so he was calling some European female Sun Ray, hosted a Facebook Live that lasted about 50 minutes talking about her decision to leave. She says, I came here to be free. I didn't want any contact with them anymore, and they're still being possessive over me. So she's saying that her parents were being possessive over her. And I'm just looking at this quote. It says, we're not really a cult. They just called us a cult, and we took on it. He said, we're not really a cult, but they called us a cult, so we took. So he's saying, wow. So he's saying they called us that, so we just gonna be that. So that right there, when you try to figure out why is the judge doing this and why is this happening, why is that happening, that was the beginning of his downfall. But like we talked about with Jonathan Majors, it's simple for the black men out there, for any black men that's going to see this. Leave Becky alone. Right? That's it. Life ain't hard. Leave Becky alone. And for the black women out there, you see weirdos like this, man, talking this weirdo spiritual mumbo jumbo. I know it sounds good to you, but bring him around actual men so they can see if he talk that weird mumbo jumbo to men. Because usually, dudes like this, not so much. Right? Now, the clip I'm going to show next is from something that he put up on his social media a few years ago. And I just want y'all to understand something. Whenever you hear something about somebody, and I know my normal audience knows this. Whenever you see some type of weird spiritual mumbo jumbo, some form of homophilia is going to come into play. No matter what, some form of homophilia is going to come into play. It's going to usually reveal itself. The people involved are usually going to expose themselves. And this dude did that on social media. So we're going to check that out real quick.
around me, other people, kids around me, because the way I am. See me, I like to be naked. Let me tell you a little something about Nature Boy. See me, I'm a real human. See my kids, when I see my son, this is how I treat my son. We naked together. My son started being ashamed of his body, and I seen it happen. I didn't want that to happen. They made him ashamed of his body. They showed him that he was naked. I did not want him to know he was naked. I said, son, look here. I didn't even want him to be in a world where he knew he was naked. I wanted my son to be so pure that he never knew he was naked. I take bath with my kids. I'm naked with my kids. I have sex in front of my kids. I never be ashamed of sex. My son be breastfeeding and I'll be making love to his mama. That's me, bruh. That's how I get down around kids. I try to keep their purity. I don't want to take their purity away by covering myself up. They're going to be ashamed and cover themselves up. And I'm pure at heart. So you can think in your mind, if I let another kid here, I'm going to have to change the way I am so that your kid could be comfortable around me. No, I'm going to be naked as fuck in front of your kids. My son comes up and grabs my penis. I let him grab my penis. I had sex with his mom. I'm making love to his mother. After I'm done, I'm laying there chilling. He grabbed my penis. And he's playing with my penis. I let that happen.
Now we understand why the judge threw the book, the chair, the table, and the desk at this dude. Because anybody talking like that, it's extremely dangerous to the community. And to be honest, even though this dude he was no longer, I don't know where he started at. I don't know if he's from Atlanta. I don't really know nothing about the dude. But all I'm saying is, at some point, before they Straight Black Pride to eschew a goon. At some point, as black men, when we hear somebody talking this type of weird type of stuff, we just gonna have to take that charge, like the Panthers say. Sometimes you gotta take the charge. And the people have to defend the people that take the charge who take the trash out. Because we got trash in the community. And it takes too many years most times for the Europeans to take the trash out. But see, the good part is, and maybe I shouldn't have told them, once a European female get involved, then all of a sudden they come and take the trash out. But that, I had to show y'all that so we can see the type of mentality, the type of minds we dealing with, these type of sick. Oh man, I almost cussed. No, I'm trying to avoid cussing publicly, which makes more cussing privately. But we got it. Tonight, we're going to examine ourselves. We're going to examine our community, because it's still people like, oh, he was set up. He was this, he was that. Like, bruh, come on, man. The dude just told you right there that he don't have other people. Let's think about what he said. He said, I don't have other people's children around me because I do this. Low key, he's saying, yeah, I know I'm a pedophile, so I don't have other people's children around me. I'll just have my own children around me while I'm doing this weirdo type behavior. That's what he said. And one thing that happens is, a lot of times these people, they always, these spiritual people, quote unquote, religious leaders, so-called conscious people. You see what I'm saying? People that have influence in our community, and they running around doing who knows what with our children. They brainwashing our women, taking them off to all types of weird places and whatnot. This dude was in Hawaii, he's in Costa Rica, he's at all these places. And then I had read that somebody somewhere, maybe, I don't know if it was a European female, I don't know who it was, had gave this dude $300,000. This dude out here talking, basically admitting to pedophilia, and people giving him $300,000 before they greetings to Raw Vital Item. raw acts of vital. Pardon so. And so when people who are really doing the work, people who are really trying to do something positive, you scraping by, struggling mightily. You know what I'm saying? And people just dropping 300K on weirdos, man. It's crazy. We have gotten to the point as a community that we support the degenerates, the savages, the weirdos, flim flam, man, the con artists, more than we support the people who are trying to avoid the total annihilation of Black people in America and around the world. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I had to talk about this tonight, because when I see it and then you just see a pattern, it's like, yo, we got to point out the pattern. And since this case was in the news, it kind of took me back to other stuff that took place. So that's that weirdo, right? Good riddance to bad rubbish. He's in jail for forever at this point. So I wanted to go back in time, though, to another case that a lot of people don't know about unless you've been around a long time in the movement. And they don't have his picture in here. But we're going to talk about, and I didn't have his picture up, but y'all can look him up. We're going to talk about Dr. Malachi Z. York, also known as, he got so many names. I think hopefully this article goes through some of his names. Now, back in when I first got knowledge, so back in the 90s is when I first came across his people. And so I'm gonna just give you my experience with York and his teachings. Back then, they were calling themselves Ansar Allah Community, right? And they were teaching the form of Islam, and they were basically saying that I think one of the things they were saying was that the current form of the Quran wasn't correct, and people's understanding of ancient Arabic wasn't correct, and they had the right teachings and all this stuff, right? And this community, they started in Brooklyn, and they went through different iterations as far as their what they were teaching, and they had like stuff that was kind of like spin-offs, but it was the same thing. Like it was real weird. Like they would really change up their ideology and their identity and their clothing and everything. So one time they was teaching, when I saw them, they was teaching form of Islam. Then they were like Nubian Islamic Hebrew. So they were mixing Islam and Judaism. Then like he started, then all of a sudden Dr. York started talking about some Black people, Native American stuff. He was the first one I really saw really talking at and popularizing it. Then now you understand, right? Like all this stuff is happening like every few years. Then they were talking about, like, eventually they got to being Kemetic, but there was also like some doomsday cultist, end of the world, space alien, planet risk type thing happening amongst all this, right? And so they would be out in different parts of DC, and they would sell their books and tapes and stuff like that. And like people that were connected to that spoke real highly of this dude, right? And talked about his vast knowledge and this and this and that. So it was an interesting phenomenon. But at the same time, while they were proselytizing, they were also real, like, secretive at the same time. And I remember talking to somebody, and they were saying that that in their community, the men and the women are separated and all this stuff, and the children are separated, and you had to like set up a meeting to be intimate with your wife and all this stuff. And then when I started hearing that stuff, I was like, oh, yeah, nah, that's some weirdo stuff. I don't know what's going on with that. Like, I don't care who you are. I mean, respectfully, you're not going to tell me what I can get with my wife. That ain't gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So even when I was, I don't know what, 18, 19 or whatever, I'm like, nah, bro, that's not gonna happen. So that was my experience with that. And then years later, something happened where I was at work, and we had like a new manager or something, and I was meeting with him, whatever, and we started talking, and then some type of way we recognized that each other had knowledge, and we started talking about. He started telling me about his experiences with, what we called the Ansars at the time, or whatever they were calling themselves by then. I guess by then they were New Orleans. And he said, right? I was like, yo, what you think about that case and what everything that happened? He's like, bro, let me tell you something. So I'm listening. He said, I was dealing with a sister that was part of that community. And she told me that the dude put his hands on her daughter. And I looked at him. I'm like, you serious? He's like, I ain't got no reason to lie to you, bro. So then I was just like, whoa. So we're going to read this article. So y'all, for those who weren't around or don't remember or never had any experience with this, because this was now been about 20 years ago that I think that he got taken down. So we're going to look at the whole Dr. York thing real quick. And the reason I'm bringing him up is because York is connected to Polite and Afrika Bambaataa, who we're going to get to, later on tonight. So let's get into this article. Says Brunswick, Georgia. This is from January 4th, 2004. So yeah, literally 20 years ago. Former members of the so-called Nuwaubians cult told jurors at a trial of their former spiritual leader that he groomed them for intimacy when they were just young girls. Now I'm gonna stop right there. It was not only girls. It was girls and boys. So again, whatever you trying to figure out, if something weird is happening or some type of weirdo stuff, or you ain't sure about some type of spiritual stuff, the homophilia is going to pop up. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying just look around for the homophilia, listen, see what people are talking about, and then the homophilia is going to pop up. It says one former member, now 18, told jurors that York, 58, began molesting her when she was just 8 years old. York, once a Muslim cleric in Brooklyn, is on trial for molesting up to 13 girls and boys and bringing them to the United Nuwaubian Nation of Moors compound in rural Putnam County, Georgia, for violation, intimacy. York faces 13 federal charges of child molestation and racketeering for using his power as leader of the Nuwaubians to engage with children between the ages of 5 and 17. The trial could last up to 3 weeks. If convicted, York could be sentenced to up to 40 years in prison. The leader allegedly lured girls with privileges. Another unnamed witness, now 28, alleges York methodically broke down girls' inhibitions as he prepared them, as he groomed them, basically. The former Nuwaubian cult member said York would first give the girls special privileges, such as soda, pizza, and TV. Then the girls would be moved on to explicit images and toys in preparation with intimacy with York. So I done forgot a lot of this stuff. So anyway, the alleged victim, who was just 13 years old, left the Nuwaubian compound in Georgia in 2000 and later helped her sister escape. The witness said the girls were told it was traditional for members of the group to have intimacy with the leader of the group so they could learn about intercourse and later please their husbands. Attorneys for the self-proclaimed quote-unquote Messiah said he is simply being persecuted for his group's troubled history with local authorities. What I feel the government is trying to do is indict the organization and not the individual, said York's defense attorneys. So, and I don't have it loaded up, but you can. And Brother Crow said, "Oh, you said Malik Zulu Shabazz was York's lawyer back in the early 2000s?" Because when I saw when this case was adjudicated, I saw European. I don't have it loaded up, so I apologize for that. I thought I had it loaded up. You can find on the video where York pleads guilty to these charges. Now, again, the whole thing is his followers say he's being persecuted. He was set up. He was this. He was that. He didn't do it. I'm just be completely honest. I've never heard or seen written where Malachi Z York or Dwight Z York or Dwight D York or Isa Al-Hadi Al-Mahdi or whatever else his name is has said, I did not touch children. I have never seen it. His case has been adjudicated. He's in prison in like ADX Max facility, like the one in Colorado where you underneath the ground so many feet. No, he over there somewhere. So, like I said, I've never heard him say, I ain't touched these children. The children said he touched them. We're going to see a video with Polite and one of the brothers who said he was touched by York. Now, who we going to believe? The pedophile or the children? Because let's be honest. Grown men don't run around saying that they was violated by another man voluntarily. That just don't happen. You see what I'm saying? So, again, my point is, despite people being convicted, despite people coming out and testifying against them, despite sometimes having people on video saying weird, questionable stuff, nonetheless, in the Black community, we'll have people defending people who we got to know something wasn't right with this dude. But we still defending the people. We still don't want to deal and address the issue that we got weirdos running around in our community, and occasionally they achieve a certain status. And when they achieve that status, we start worshiping the weirdos. And we got people in jail for doing real work. We got Panthers in jail for putting in work, defending the community against police brutality, liberating funds, as they say, and all types of things that they had to do to fight the onslaught of white domination and small hat hegemony. We can't get nobody to rally for these people. But we got people talking about pedophiles as innocent. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it irritates me to no degree. And maybe I'm blowing it out of proportion, and maybe it ain't as many people as I think supporting this type of stuff. But I'm saying if we got 10 people supporting a weirdo, what are we doing? Because let's be completely honest. Robert Kelly music ain't been turned completely off in the Black community. And if you're old enough, you saw a video of him using a bathroom on a 14, 15-year-old girl What can't remember her age now. We know he married Aaliyah when she was 15. And then a brother told me, and I didn't load it up because I know I get copyright for that, but go back and listen to Vibe from his first album, from R. Kelly's first album. He's naming women that got that vibe. So a lot of times when you hear these songs, you think that dudes are making a song just naming random women. He says in that song, little Aaliyah's got it, that vibe. Bruh. When you made that song, Aaliyah's like 13, 14 years old. What vibe do a 13, 14-year-old have when you 24, 25 years old? But people still want to listen to R. Kelly's music. People want to say he was set up. He set himself up by being a pedophile. And we don't never talk about him with little boys. We just gloss over that. But whenever you see these weirdos, you're going to see what? Homosexuality and pedophilia. They go hand in hand. So when Negroes sit around and try to argue with me about why we should accept homophiles in the community, we should not accept homophiles in the community because the two behaviors are linked. And 9 times out of 10, you leave your children around these folks, especially your sons, and see what happens. And then you want to come to us later on and say, hey, brother, can you counsel my son? He has having trouble with his manhood. Or can y'all do something because this weirdo that y'all told me about did something to my son or something like that? When we already spoke to warn the wicked from his wicked ways to save his life. We got to keep it 100 here. So that's why I wanted to bring this up because, bruh, I'm so tired of Negroes who claim to be pro-black supporting pedos and homos. It makes me want to throw up just seeing this ridiculous love for degenerate, backwards predators. But we can't get no love for the warriors out here. So let me I don't even know what the next article is. My bad. This was the Justice Department's case against, and we're gonna read this for ourselves, right? Trial results in multiple count conviction of leader of pseudo-religious sect. Following a 3-week jury trial on January 23rd, 2004, defendant Dwight York was convicted on 10 counts, including RICO charges, which is 18 USC S 1962 C, RICO conspiracy, which is the same thing except with a D, conspiracy, which is 18 USC S 371, 3 counts of transporting minors in interstate commerce for the purpose of criminal sexual activity, 1 count of travel in interstate commerce with the intent to engage in criminal sexual activity with minors, and 3 counts of structuring cash transactions. York, also known as Isa Muhammad, Isa al-Hadi al-Mahdi, and Dr. Malachi Z. York, the leader of the United Nations of Nubian Moors, was found guilty of committing a pattern of racketeering activity along with several unindicted co-conspirators in which the enterprise transported minors interstate commerce from New York to Georgia and from Georgia to Florida for the purpose of engaging in criminal sexual activity and structured cash transactions, all for the purpose of providing York with power, intimacy with children, and money. York utilized his power as the leader of the organization to gain and maintain access to children. York utilized his power as the leader of the organization to gain and maintain access to children. York utilized his power as the leader of the organization to gain and maintain access 2 children. York molested and sexually abused countless minor-age children within his organization, 14 of whom have testified for the prosecution at trial. York moved or caused to be moved children from Sullivan County, New York, to Putnam County, Georgia, and from Georgia to Orange County, Florida, for the purpose of continuing the molestation of children in his organization. York also used adult female members of his group whom he had previously molested when they were children to bring younger children to him for unlawful purposes. At sentencing, York which had not yet been scheduled at that time, York faces a total statutory maximum potential penalty of 135 years. So that's the case against Dr. York. Anybody can look it up. Anybody can see what it is. I just be honest. Like I said before, boys don't often lie about being molested by men. I have not encountered a case where that has taken place. But what we're going to look at is we're going to look at a clip of Polite, right? The York disciple, as he talks to one of the victims of Dr. York.
Get locked away. So I really understand how hard it is for people that's deeply involved in it also. And people gotta understand, I was born and raised in it too. So I understand from inside out also what it feels like not to have this person around still giving leadership. You know, so it's not no stranger, no random person that's saying, oh, this happened. I mean, this stuff, like, I was 7 years old. You know what I'm saying? I was upstate New York. After Brooklyn, you know, I was upstate New York when he first, you know, touched me or whatever, in molested, you know. And so from 7 to 14, 7 years that I went through this, you know what I'm saying? And that's my story.
Would you say there's been over 20 children molested by Dr. York?
I would say so. I mean, I would say that it was, you know, if I could confirm people that I've asked from, it'll be
obviously over 15 to 20 children were being molested. We have to now say, how come the adults wasn't saying nothing? Shouldn't they be locked up with Dr. York too? How come they're free to testify about it?
You understand the adults were separated from their children. You know, so you had the girls in one house, the boys in one house, the women in one place, the brothers in one place. You know, everybody was separated. So it wasn't no house with a family, and then you could recognize when your child is gone.
You mean to tell the world that none of these children had enough sense in their mind to go tell their parent that this isn't right? I've been touched sexually, I've been sexually abused. Not one child out of all these children. It could have stopped so long ago if just one child or just one adult. What caused all of this to come out? First, you hear nothing from nobody.
Yeah.
You hear nothing from nobody. Then you hear something from everybody, all at the same time.
They might not have been a medium to talk to anybody about the situation.
Not even their parents.
I mean, that's of course. I could have talked to I could have told my mother.
We chose not to.
It's not that I chose not to. To really explain it would really take a lot. But I mean, you're not really yourself when you're not. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no esteem. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no. You know what I'm saying? You can't even face, like, my mother had to, when she found out from my sister and she came to me and asked me about it, and I still really couldn't even tell her. I had to say, well, I had sex with the girl and he was there. And that was my way of telling her that, yeah, it happened. You know what I'm saying? But that's when the initial conversation, and this is like 2 weeks before we left. It was something I was under. I couldn't tell my mom. I didn't tell nobody. It was something that held me to not say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because I looked up to him as my dad, because I looked up to him as the person that he was. I thought he was a God figure. I thought he, you know, and all those reasons, like, you know, I'm trying to, like, see why is this going on? What's the significance? I'm young. I don't even know what really into sex, and I don't.
Why do you think he's locked up for 135 years, underground 60 feet, in a super max penitentiary with no one with a case likened to his own, amongst cannibals?
I wanted to show that for a reason. Because the clip was longer than that. But I stopped it there because it showed how serious the people involved in the case thought it was. And what's crazy is that Polite basically was browbeating that brother. And you notice one thing, because when we get to Bambaataa and we talk about that clip, you'll notice that he basically blamed the children. Why didn't you tell nobody? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Did he blame the parents? Why didn't you do this? Now, that's the thing. Polite knows how York works. Polite knows that York separates the men from the women and the women from the children, like the slave master. Brother Uncle Taz says, sucker Polite trying to defend the undefendable. Right, indeed. But I want you to pay attention to what he said, because in a few minutes, you're going to hear the same defense. Now we know, and I didn't see that clip when it happened. Now we know why he defended it, because the fruit psychologically didn't fall far from the tree. I don't know what happened. I guess I forgot to load it up. I thought I had his case loaded up. But for those, since I don't have the video loaded up, my apologies for that. Let's just go into it. We've talked about it before. Polite, who had allegedly 4 wives, was taken around. I'm assuming the daughter of one of his wives, or the daughter of a girlfriend, or whatever. That whole aspect of it wasn't really clear, because they were trying to, protect her identity before they straight black pride of brother Desaline. And he's taking her out because allegedly the mother and the daughter got into an incident, right? And we can all look this up. Mother and daughter got an incident. He's supposedly taking her to, I don't know what. But here was my thing then, here's my thing now, here's my thing tomorrow. You allegedly have 4 wives. You're polygamous. All right, cool, whatever. One of your wives or additional girlfriends, female children, her daughter, is out of order. You are called to help with the situation. You have 3 other wives and other women that you trust to take her to, so that they can counsel the child and they can separate and have the things cooled off. And you can bring the mother to these people so that y'all can have a family counseling sessions. Does that happen? No. What happens? He takes the girl out on the town, go to an after party somewhere. The venue is closed, or they can't get in, or whatever the world happened. And then he takes her to a hotel. And then next thing you know, he's brought up on charge. Now, hold up. The whole thing is, regardless of what you say did or didn't happen, why are you in a hotel room alone with somebody's daughter when you got 4 wives? Right? Let's just call it what it is. Only a pedophile would take the opportunity to sit around and, what are you doing taking I think the young girl was like 15 years old or whatever. Why are you taking a 15-year-old to an after party? Why are you giving her alcohol? See, if you wasn't foul, none of this stuff that led up to what happened would have even took place, because you wouldn't have been doing nothing like none of that. So you can't say nothing about he was set up or because he should, none of that shouldn't even never took place. It ain't justifiable. It ain't defensible. But we saw his mentality with him, as the brother said, trying to defend the indefensible, and now he up here doing something that's now indefensible. And I'm sure somewhere there's somebody trying to defend him with the indefensible, because you should have never put yourself in the position in the first place, and only a pedophile would put themselves in the position. Because to be completely honest, if you got 4 wives, you don't need to be taking no woman of any age to anywhere, because you got other wives to attend to. And I don't have the video, but y'all remember this? How many people remember the time where he had the, I don't remember what type of car it was. He had some fancy car or whatever, and then some tranny was running around and hopping in the car or whatever, and then people was asking him about it, and he was mumbling and stumbling and saying all types of weird stuff. Anybody remember that? I wish I had the video for that. Again, what am I saying? The homophilia will come out. That's all I was saying. And then remember that he had all the pictures with the white bras all of a sudden. And he said something, I can't remember his justification, but he said something like, why shouldn't I let them worship me? Or some weird type of stuff. And it's like, you got 4 wives. Jet black chocolate sisters. Beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Like, dudes would, in fact, that was part of your game. That's why dudes were giving you props. They like, yo, this dude got 4 beautiful chocolate sisters. He must know something I don't know, because I ain't got one. Right? Let's be real. That's what dudes was thinking. And then next thing you know, you running around talking about why shouldn't you let white women worship you, and you in Hollywood scamming and hustling these fools. And then in reality, what you end up doing is playing yourself right till 7 years, where he pled after lying and say he didn't plead. Yeah, now you hadn't pled yet because the date for the court case hadn't came up yet. But again, it's the community's fault, because we're sitting here, we're listening to a weirdo. Now, I didn't see that video till much late in the game, but if I had saw that and I saw him defending York, because I already just had a feeling about the dude, but I be trying not to be a hater. I be trying. But what I realized, I was talking, you got ripped off. I said, man, I be thinking I'm a hater, but it just be my, for lack of a better word, my spidey sense just telling me, hey, yo, that dude is foul. And I don't even be knowing people. It's like as soon as I see the people, I'm like, yeah, nah, I don't like that dude. But a lot of times I keep it to myself, because a lot of times it plays out. We see it. You know what I'm saying? So that's Polite's case. I would have played the court part. Y'all can still find it. Bro, that's what he said. My college says, right? Yeah. That's what I'm start calling it. My college says. You know what I'm saying? My Malcolm sense. Malcolm used to, back in the day, they say Malcolm used to know everything about everybody. He used to know who was real and who wasn't. And he would have went at a lot more people. Elijah Muhammad was like, nah, don't do that. We ain't gonna get into why maybe Elijah Muhammad ain't want him stirring up the pot on certain people. Just saying. I ain't going there tonight, but I'm just saying. So the next person that we have connected with York, Bang Booty. Greek Bang Booty. I'm not calling this dude African, that Greek Bang Booty. Now, I could not get the clip, but and some of y'all in here know, y'all remember. In fact, some of y'all probably might have been in the meeting with or talk with Jeannie when this happened. So back in, I believe, 2016, and somebody helped me out. I got my years mixed up. It came to light that Ronald Savage, former member of Zulu Nation, accused Bang Booty of touching him when he was a child. Who you didn't know? Bang Booty was connected to York. Yeah. A lot of their initial teachings came from the 5%, but then he came under York's influence. And there's a connection there. But Ronald Savage accused Bang Booty of touching him, right? Then the brother Poppy, Hassan Campbell, he basically verified it. He's like, the dude is foul. And it stirred up a whole hornet's nest. Now, sir, I got 3-4 brothers from New York here, so they can testify to all this stuff. And so I think Jenny was up there when this broke and was like, yo, we got to do something. And decided the next week going to have a press conference and call him to the carpet and put it on the table in front of the people, right? So me and about like 4 brothers and 1 sister, we go with Jeannie to New York, 2015. Thank you. Sante 1000. We go to New York with Jeannie. Now, mind you, this is what I didn't know about. I knew of the Zulu Nation. I'm not from New York. From DC. We thought of the Zulu Nation as like a hip hop organization, kind of community type of would do. Like we knew they had some hard rock dudes because you started in the Bronx. So literally, if you're on the East Coast, somebody say Bronx, you lift your head up like, oh, wait a minute. Like, you know what I'm saying? The Bronx has a reputation. Bronx has had a reputation since I was a child, right? Like they made movies about how bad the Bronx was in I guess some of the movies might have been old when I saw them, but like the late 70s, early 80s. Like the Bronx had always been basically considered a wasteland and a hellhole. Just being completely honest, right? No disrespecting nobody from the Bronx. I'm just saying that's been the perception that's been put out before the world. And if you went there in the 80s or whatever, you're like, wow, this is pretty horrible. You know what I'm saying? Like the Bronx and Newark in the 80s were like the 2 worst places I've ever seen in my life. Just being honest, respectfully. You know what I'm saying? It looked like a war zone. I don't know what was happening back then. Right? So this comes out. We go up there with Jenny. We have the press conference. Ronald Savage was there. Hassan Campbell was there. Jeannie was there. I'm trying to remember who else spoke. I can't remember everybody else, but y'all, somewhere in it, the footage is out here somewhere. I guess maybe what's his name still got it. Maybe he still got it up. I don't know. Right. So we put it on the table like, yo, need to do something about this. Need to see if these charges are real, so forth, so on. Different people were speaking, and we came to it appeared that we were coming to a consensus that he needed to be brought before the people to answer for these charges. At that point, 2 brothers from Universal Zulu Nation came into the cipher that had been formed as if they were going to be aggressive and deal with some type of physical action against Jamie, right? So my brother, he took one spot and I took another spot behind these folks because we could, they was coming up aggressive, Let's just put it like that. So Genie, he talks to him. He's like, well, hold up. You from Zulu Nation? They're like, yeah, we from Zulu Nation. He's like, so y'all support pedophilia? See now you caught. Because you want to come up here and be aggressive and defend a pedophile, or what? What's the problem? So one of the brothers was like, hold up. I ain't with that. I got like 9 children. If somebody did something to my children, blah, blah, blah. So Genie was like, then what's the problem? We on the same side. We here trying to protect black children. So the brother just kind of looked like, yeah, I can't argue with that. you know what I'm saying? So he was diffused. And so his man looked at him like, yeah, I can't go against that. You're right. And it diffused the situation, right? But what didn't happen was Bambaataa wasn't called to the carpet. That's what didn't happen. And even though people said that they were against it, you had some people who had some mysterious, untimely demises around this situation. Coincidence or not? And what we come to realize is that it appears not only was Bambaataa protected by his organization, but apparently he has connections, his music industry connections, and other things are protecting him because he has been doing stuff internationally. Right? And he's been assaulted for attempting to assault people. All of this at this point is now the public record, but he's faced no actual criminal charges to my knowledge. Now, if something happened recently, y'all know about, y'all let me know. No criminal charges. This is the most insulated person I've ever seen. Now, here's a weird thing that happened around this time, and I'm just saying, make note of it. Around this time, all of a sudden, a picture of Bambaataa and Minister Farrakhan pops up out of nowhere and gets circulated around the internet. I don't know what that meant. I took mental note of it, but I don't know what that meant. I don't know if he just was going to Minister Farrakhan for spiritual enlightenment. I don't know what that was. I don't know why the nation let it be put out with him standing next to this dude at that time when he was facing no charge. I don't know what. I don't know. But I made note of it. Because sometimes you have to make note of things where you're like, hey, yo, what was that? Right? So we're going to get into just the article to see how the media covered it, because I just wanted to give y'all my experience with the situation when it went down, because I was not there when the acts were committed, but when the blowback from the truth being revealed, I was there. And let me say one more thing before we get into the article, because I forgot about this. Because we got to put it on the table. Brother Genie and the Hebrew Israelite Captain Tazariak, his organizations, I can't remember the exact name of the group, so I ain't trying to be disrespectful and get to guessing and messing up stuff. But Brother Genie and the Hebrew Israelite group that has Captain Tazariak in it, his team, planned a joint discussion ISUPK, right? ISUPK Hebrew. Thank you, brother. A joint discussion and action plan on what we're gonna do about pedophiles in the community, right? Never forget, I went to New York early. I went before Straight Black Pride came up there. Stayed for the weekend. Enjoyed myself. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I used to love going to New York. Could never live there unless I found some way to be a millionaire. Could never live there, but always enjoyed going there, especially in the summertime. Not gonna lie, right? One of my favorite places to visit in the summertime. So go up there, do the whole New York thing. Hop on the train. You know what I'm saying? Go uptown. They was at that Alhambra ballroom. That place is huge. I was like, yo, whoa, this is crazy. All right, cool. You know what I'm saying? Brothers there, they doing security. Straight Black Pride show up. We expecting a big turnout. Different brothers that help promote it and all this, man. We expecting a big turnout, man. We're going to deal with this pedophilia. We're going to organize the conscious brothers. We're going to come together. You know what I'm saying? We're going to stomp this stuff out. We're going to make it happen. Now, mind you, this was after the press conference. And remember, I told y'all before the press conference, I saw sisters crying tears of joy, seeing Black men come together to address an issue that's secretly destroying our community from the inside out. And what happens is, let's keep it a buck. We see our women, we see them out of control. We see them embracing feminism. We see them disrespecting and hating Black men. We see them going around, running around with crackers, and we sit around and attack our women. But what don't we do? We don't never say, I wonder if that sister was violated. I wonder if that's the reason for her animosity. I wonder if that's the reason for her low self-esteem. I wonder is that the reason for her disrespectful mouth. We don't never look at that. When is that the reason why the sister's so loose with, her body? We don't never look at that part. And what happens is when sisters trust you, and they get comfortable around you, what happens is they will randomly break down and tell you everything. And you'll be like, wait, whoa, what? When? You was how old? Is this dude still breathing? Because that's all you thinking. I've had it happen multiple times with sisters that I had no clue, but they knew at the time we was doing the work. And they would just randomly just put it on the table and break down. And you don't even, as a brother, you don't even know what to do because it be coming out of nowhere. And you realize they've been holding in all this pain and stuff for a long time. So, one, I wish healing for all those sisters and brothers who've been through this. And two, we're gonna at some point we're gonna get to the point the way these homophiles are pushing in our community, and not just our community, around the world. We're gonna have to make some hard decisions. Not even uncomfortable conversations, but hard decisions. Let me get to this article real quick, because I'm starting to lose my voice. All right, that's my bad. Here we go. Exclusive. Afrika Bambaataa. Wait a minute. I'm reading the wrong one. Let's go back. Let's read the older one first. Afrika Bambaataa kicked out of Zulu Nation amid assault allegations. Legendary DJ and producer Afrika Bambaataa, or as we call him, Greek Bang Booty, been kicked out of the very organization that he helped found over 40 years ago, hip hop awareness group Zulu Nation. Last month, 50-year-old Ronald Savage, a former music industry exec and New York politician, alleges that he had been molested by Bang Booty between the ages of 12 and 14 during the late 70s. Afterwards, 3 more men stepped forward, accusing the Planet Rock performer of the same. His former bodyguard alluded to witnessing in criminal acts as well. All right, let's stop right there. I ain't even got an article good. If you as a man, see, I'm gonna be honest. Where I come from in DC, now, first of all, they talking about the 70s. I was a child. So, but where I come from in DC, if you see some weirdo behavior, like some dude, like looking at another dude or something like that, straight men don't. Nah, them folks can't be around, man. The only pass that people would give is if the person was related to him. And let me talk about that. This thing where we don't put it on the table, where like we know something wrong with somebody and in our family, and we don't put it on the table and say, hey, yo, where we just secretly keep the children away from them, but we don't tell why. Nah, man. Nah. We gotta stop doing that and put it on tape. Be like, hey, yo, cuz a weirdo, get him up out of here. Because there's no reason for to do that type of stuff and sweep it on the rug, and then the children come out 20 years later or whatever and say, oh, this person did this and that. Especially when we talking about grown men or grown women, because there's a lot of women stuff coming out lately, and little children. We're not talking about nothing like this person was 16, this person was 13, and we ain't talking about nothing like that. We're not even talking about the children touching children thing, was a whole nother thing that's been going on that we don't really talk about. I don't even know what to do with that. We ain't talking about that. That's something we I don't know. We're gonna have to get some child psychologists or whatever. I don't know. We ain't even talking about that. We talking about grown folk where we know one person is grown, one person is a minor. We ain't got no debate on that issue. Let me get back to the article. Despite both Bambaataa's lawyers' denials of the allegations, today the Universal Zulu Nation announced that it's currently under new leadership, and the process will involve a significant restructure and reassessment. The statement definitively adds that all accused parties and those accused of covering up the current allegations of child molestation have been removed and have stepped down from their current positions. Though they did not mention Bambaataa by name, they admit that they will not condemn one of our founders based on testimony through social media alone, but they also refuse to ignore the comments of parties assessing that they were harmed. Fence riding, right? Now it's all hip hop article. Check it out. Says African Bambaataa, former leader of Zulu Nation, is facing mounting pressure as new court documents reveal further evidence by a plaintiff who goes by John Doe to collect a judgment against him and his organization. According to exclusive documents obtained by All Hip Hop, Doe recently requested the court to rule on his motion for default filed April 11, 2022 and August 1st, 2022, to hold Bambaataa in default for his failure to appear in court. The lawsuit, John Doe versus Lance Taylor, was filed in the Bronx Supreme Court on August 4, 2021, shortly before the Child Victims Act deadline expired. The case alleges Bambaataa abused Doe during the early 90s. Remember, we started off in the 70s. Now we're in the 90s, when the plaintiff was only 12 years old. The suit also claims the Zulu Nation's national headquarters and Bambaataa's private Bronx River apartment were used for the abuse. Doe, represented by Tanner and Ortega, seeking compensation for physical injury, severe and permanent emotional distress, mental anguish, depression, and embarrassment caused by the alleged abuse. The lawsuit outlines 5 allegations: assault, civil battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress, and gross negligence. On April 11th, Doe filed a motion for a default judgment against Bambaataa in the Bronx Supreme Court. The complaint states Bambaataa should have appeared or answered the plaintiff's complaint within the allotted time given by the court, but no one could locate him to serve him. As previously reported by All Hip Hop, Bambaataa has faced multiple accusations of child molestation and abuse, explicitly targeting underprivileged boys in the South Bronx. He allegedly used his fame and influence to coerce young people into performing acts. Afrika Bambaataa denied these allegations via an exclusive statement to all hip hop issued by his then lawyer, Vivian K. Tozaki. Sound like a hat. The Zulu Nation founder is currently on tour in Europe and in Italy for various shows. So this dude didn't even feel the need to respond to the allegation. He's too elected or I mean, he just disregarded the stuff. He just like, bro, whatever. Y'all ain't figured it wasn't criminal, so he ain't paying it no attention. And it happened so long ago, he just like, but what we're going to do real quick is we're going to watch a video of Bambaataa. I want y'all to pay attention to his mannerisms, his manner of speech and everything. And this is from a few years ago. This is from, I think, 2016, where a news report about this with him and Ronald Savage.
Doing so much other work in the community at the time.
A Fox 5 exclusive, one of hip-hop's founding fathers speaking out for the first time on television about child abuse allegations. And the list of accusers is growing, and they all tell similar stories.
Afrika Bambaataa being accused of sexually abusing several underage boys decades ago. Lisa Evers sat down with him for an exclusive TV interview to answer the allegation. She joined us.
Well, Stephen Derry, Afrika Bambaataa, but now he is accused of a crime that is tough to forgive: molesting boys. He sat down with me for this exclusive interview, and no question off limit.
Have you ever abused any underage boy?
I never abused nobody. You know, it just sounds crazy to people to say that here you abuse me. You know, my thing is, you know all my people back then. You know the hundreds of people that been around me. You know, if something like that happened, why you never want to? None of them.
Party people, then don't get funky.
It also sounded crazy to many fans of his 1980s hit song, Planet Rock, considered one of the all-time greatest in hip-hop. Since then, as the founder of the hip-hop cultural organization Zulu Nation, he's been a visiting professor at Cornell and invited to speak around the world. He told me the accusations came as a shock.
What is the motivation?
Yeah, what is the motivation? What is the agenda?
Do you think there is an agenda there?
It's hard to say. You know, you don't know what many of these people are thinking, what is behind it. Some parts I seen like it could be shake-ups. You know, certain things people might have wanted.
Bambaataa's chief accuser, Ronald Savage, is now 50 years old. He claims in 1980, when he was 15 and under the age of consent, playing hooky led to his first sexual experience with the hip-hop pioneer, and was followed by at least 4 other abuse incidents.
I didn't have nowhere to go, so I had his number, and I called him, and he paid for the cab for me to go to his house.
Savage claims through therapy he came to understand he was abused and became aware of other alleged victims.
I couldn't believe it. I was confused. I was a little nervous, you know, and I was just wondering, like, the other guy coming into the room, and what was they going to do to me?
I asked Bambaataa what he would say to Savage.
The brother knows the people who he came around in my group with, and know that he wasn't in my presence less among those people, and he needs to go back and speak to those people who was part of our organization and deal with them and stop all this type of craziness that they've been trying to put by attacking me.
And you never touched him inappropriately?
I ain't touched this brother whatsoever.
The allegations have set off a social media firestorm and ignited feverish debate. Since the alleged incidents happened so long ago, no criminal charges can be brought. And there have been no settlements or payouts, says Bambaataa attorney Charles Tucker Jr.
Have there been any criminal charges filed against Afrika Bambaataa at all?
Absolutely not. Not today, not yesterday, not the day before yesterday, not ever.
The question now is what happens next? Can we ever find out the truth of what really occurred? And are there other victims out there who have yet to come forward?
Or is this a case that will only be tried in the court of public opinion? Here's what both sides have to say.
In our exclusive interview, Afrika Bambaataa emphatically maintained he is not a sexual abuser. Do you feel now you are among that group of people falsely accused?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, there's always been things in the community where you accuse people that sit in the prisons, political prisoners and groups like that, that they wait to 10, 15, 20, even 30 or 40 years before they find out that this person was railroaded.
But Ronald Savage believes there are more victims out there and that the statute of limitations should be eliminated.
No one can tell anyone when they're ready to let stuff out. And especially if you haven't went through what I went through and other people went through. It's like, how dare you?
All right. Y'all got my apologies for the video. I don't know what's going on with that. My connection should be strong. I'll just put it like that. It's not the tech on that end. I don't know if it's the computer or what's happening. I'll look into that, but you have my apologies for the video running slow. Realistically, the whole stream been acting funny almost since I got started. Maybe that's a coincidence. Maybe it's a subject matter. I don't know. Anyway, greetings to Black Pearl Inc. See, they've entered the chat. But you notice, right, that what did he say? Remember what Polite was saying, man, all these people was around and blah, 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 blah. And why you ain't go to this person and that person, yada, yada, yada. And then what did Bambaataa say? Or Bang Booty say? Man, all them people was around and why you ain't go to that person and yada, yada. It was the same sorry, stupid, ridiculous defense. Blame the victim. There was a child at the time. It was the same exact thing. And that's why I played the clip, so we could see the patterns. Right? Now, this person, everybody else, I think that I brought up, their case has been adjudicated, and that's really why I wanted to bring them up, because courts have decided. So we ain't got to debate. The courts decided for us. Right, wrong, and indifferent. This case has not been adjudicated, but I brought it up because I got a tangential personal connection with it. But again, we see person of a certain stature in his community. Basically, you could say, I would say, and this don't mean necessarily it's positive. I certainly don't look at him as anyone positive, but I would argue he's a legend in the Bronx. Some people in hip hop consider him a legend. KRS-One, who I started looking at differently and started looking at his mannerisms, came out and vociferously defended him. You had some dudes from back that was in Zulu Nation back in the day. This was their defense. They said, I hate when people say this. Oh, well, everybody knew he was gay. Who was everybody? 8-9 billion people on planet Earth. Who's everybody? You know what I'm saying? This is way before the internet. So who's everybody that knew? How did everybody know? Did he hold up a sign and say he was gay? Or was he supposed to look at them ridiculous costumes they was wearing and be like, oh yeah, that dude's gay? But that's what they said. Everybody knew it. Well, what that got to do with him touching little boys, bro? Like the mental gymnastics that we go through to defend complete savagery, barbarity degeneracy and just evil. Like we got to get back to using that word. People that molest children have committed an act of evil. Period. Grown people who touch young people inappropriately commit acts of evil. Period. Can we agree on that part? And Brother Crow brings up a point. Hold on. Thank you, Brother Crow. KRS-One did a song called 13 and Good. The song is the degenerate song talking about messing with a 13-year-old girl. So maybe that's why he was so vociferous in his defense. And not only that, brother, remember in the song where the girl was 13, like, first of all, how in your mind did you even conceive something like that? I don't know how KRS-One was with this. I just know I hated the song and I ain't really like him either, to be honest. Do you conceive that? And then in the song, remember at the end of the song, the girl's father told KRS-One in the song that he could continue engaging with his daughter as long as KRS-One sleep with him. That was in the song too. So he had a whole song with homosexuality and pedophilia in it. And it wasn't a song like De La Soul, because De La Soul made a song about pedophilia called Millie Pulled a Pistol on Santa Claus. It's one of the most haunting songs you've ever heard. It's from, I think, their second album. But it's something that needed to be talked about at the time. Just like everybody talks about Tupac, but nobody talks about Tupac's song When They Had a Baby. See, there were people who were warning us and telling us when we were young, when these songs were coming out, I was a teenager, about this issue and this problem in our community. Salute to those who made those songs to hip us to this weird behavior that I admittedly didn't know nothing about at the time. And a thumbs down and a hell and a spit in the face to the people who was adding to and covering up this savagery. Right? So we got one more person to talk about. Now, this is a person I didn't know nothing about at all because I was never really in the church, but we just gonna watch the clip. I didn't even bring up no articles. Everybody know, I think everybody's aware of the Bishop Eddie Long thing. Everybody remember that. Here's what I remember most about that thing. Two things. I wish I had the video for both of them, but I can't find the video for one of them at all. In fact, now hold up, my bad. Let's watch the video of the news report first, and then I'll go on. So now we're gonna watch the clip of this whole Bishop Eddie Long thing.
Haunted by a father figure, Bishop Eddie Long, pastor of New Birth Missionary Baptist, one of America's most powerful megachurches.
I cannot get the sound of his voice out of my head, and I cannot forget the smell of his cologne, and I cannot forget the way that he made me cry many nights when I drove in his cars on the way home, not able to take enough showers to wipe the smell of him off of my body.
As teens, Paris and 3 other young men claim Long adopted them as his spiritual sons, then exploited them. Their civil suits allege Long used scripture, cars, jewelry, and trips on his private plane in a sexual seduction.
That's not a father. That's a predator.
Long built this megachurch into 25,000 members. 4 U.S. presidents attended Coretta Scott King's funeral here. He flaunts his wealth and his physique. His so-called muscular Christianity preaches homosexuality is sinful. Now these allegations.
I have never in my life portrayed myself as a perfect man, but I am not the man that's being portrayed on the television.
But here's what makes many church members here wonder. Long has never taken his public denials one step further, never said flatly these allegations are false. All 4 teens met Georgia's legal age of consent, but that's hardly the moral standard for any pastor.
You are not a man, you are a monster.
Allegations that leave Long's congregation trying to decide whether their pastor is a predator. Mark Strassman, CBS News, Lithonia, Georgia.
All right. Like I said, I wasn't in church. I ain't know anything about Eddie Long. When I saw the stuff, I just looked at it and was like, hey, yo, that's crazy. And moved on. Here's what's crazy. Right? Of all people, right? Minister Farrakhan comes out and defends Eddie Long. I can't find that clip anywhere. I don't know. They took that down. I don't know what's going on. Here's what I remember about that. Minister Farrakhan, as far as I remember, was speaking at Mos Mariam. He was wearing a suit, but he wasn't wearing a bow tie, and he had his button unbuttoned. Symbolically, I took that as he was not speaking as the national representative of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or speaking for the Nation of Islam. He was speaking for his friend. Why Eddie Long is Minister Farrakhan's friend, I have no idea. He sat up there and talked about, man, those charges, that's rough. And then he went on to defend it. Remember, Minister Farrakhan was seen in the picture with Bambaataa after the charges against him came out. At the same time, this is the same Minister Farrakhan who, out of the blue years later, made some type of insinuation that Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad had some type of issue with women because something that happened to him when he was young that nobody ain't heard nothing about, nobody had him come out and verify, and nobody don't know nothing about. After Dr. Khalid couldn't defend himself because he wasn't here on the planet. And then Minister Farrakhan sat up there and defended R. Kelly and admitted that he defended R. Kelly to Barry Hankerson, Aaliyah's uncle, who wanted to get Aaliyah away from R. Kelly. And we know what happened with R. Kelly and Aaliyah. We're going to get to that shortly. So I don't know what's going on with Minister Farrakhan's defense of Bambaataa, R. Kelly, and Eddie Long. I don't know what's going on with that. But it's a weird coincidence. And like I said, you get that 2019 Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad Day, you get to see the video of it because I got it saved there in the lecture, but I didn't have it here. It's on the other computer, unfortunately for me. So y'all can see it. But it's a weird thing that, we're going to have to like put on the table because ain't no need for us to wait till Mr. Farrakhan ain't here and then everything falls out and everybody starts accusing him or whatever, or everybody starts wondering why he defended this person or that person. Nah, let's put it on the table now. Why is he defending these people? Why is he being seen with these people? Why risk your pristine reputation with people who are extremely questionable? And admit some of it. Why publicly come out and defend Eddie Long? Like, I'm just to be honest with and just being completely honest, short of a situation like that, short of the victim or victims saying, hey, I was coerced by the police or I wanted to get money or something like that, short of them saying that personally to me, ain't no way, man, nah, bro. Nah. No. Nope. And you got to be willing to take and testify to that. But instead, you just come out and randomly defend people who ain't looking good. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I'm gonna go here. Whatever. What did Eddie Long die from? Does anybody know? Like, one minute he was all buffing, one night, and the next minute he's losing his hair. He was frail, and then he was dead. Was it cancer? Anybody know? Somebody help me out. Because I'm saying his death looked a lot like HIV from the outside looking in. But I wasn't paying attention. But let's get to our last person because we up against the our 2-hour mark. And I thank everybody for hanging in there with me with since Vanessa says rumored to be HIV. Yeah, that's what it looked like. That's exactly what it looked like. Let's just supposedly was canceled. Okay, because they. All right, we're gonna go here real quick and wrap it up because we ain't got to really the R. Kelly thing. Everybody know about that. R. Kelly and Aaliyah look at an illegitimate marriage. On Wednesday, fallen R&B star R. Kelly was sentenced to 30 years in prison using his fame to subject young fans, some just children, to systematic sexual abuse. The Grammy-winning multi-platinum selling singer and songwriter was convicted last year of racketeering, sex trafficking, at a trial that gave voice to accusers who had previously wondered if their stories were being ignored. And see, this where we got to be careful. Says this where their stories being ignored because they were black women. Stop. First of all, they were children. Second of all, he also molested boys. I don't know what it is with this thing where we got to erase the abuse of black boys. I guess to make it more palatable for us to accept the abuse. But everybody here, with the exception of Polite, if I'm not mistaken, has been accused of touching little boys as well. Right? I don't know why they felt the need to gloss over that with this R. Kelly thing, man. He's a homosexual and a pedophile. But let's just get to the part we want to talk about. Just the Aaliyah part. Part of the legal case involved his marriage to late R&B singer Aaliyah, who passed away in a plane crash. Aaliyah's story, to me, is just one of the saddest stories in our community because she had the potential to be such a wonderful, talented, beautiful sister, and she just was taken advantage of at every turn by a bunch of degenerate, savage, no good, filthy, disgusting pieces of filth, starting with Robert. Says who was Aaliyah? We know who Aaliyah was. Leah Dana Harden. We know her. Was signed a record deal with her uncle in Detroit when she was 12. You know what I'm saying? We're all old enough. We remember Aaliyah. Basically, for anybody who wants to know, there would be no Beyonce if Aaliyah was alive. Period. Point blank. That's what it is. Let's get to the part we wanted to get to. Said 2 years later, after she was signed, Aaliyah teamed with Robert the Rapist to make her debut record. Age ain't nothing but a number. Like, first of all, that come on, man. They just put it right there. They just put it on. They just put it. He put it right in front of our face. And if you remember the album cover, I should have brought it up. I wasn't thinking about it. He's in the back while she's in the front. He in the back, kind of looking at her like some weird pedophilic vibe to the thing. But at the time, I think when Aaliyah came out, I might have been like, I was in my early 20s. I'm a few years older than her. So I wasn't even picking up on that stuff, right? So she became involved. Wait a minute, no. She became involved with Kelly. Bro, who wrote this? No. He groomed her and secretly married her when she was 15. And I believe he was either 27 or 28 years old. Her parents discovered this and quickly annulled the marriage. Says in 2019, federal prosecutors charged Kelly with scheming with others to pay for a fake ID for an unnamed female a day before he married Aaliyah. The revised indictment accuses Kelly of paying a bribe in exchange for fraudulent identifications for someone identified only as Jane Doe on August 30th, 1994. A day later, Kelly, then 27, married Aaliyah in a secret ceremony he arranged at a hotel in Chicago. Why is Chicago relevant? Because where's the national headquarters of the Nation of Islam? Chicago. Just saying. Just saying. And yet, you still have people who want to listen to Robert's music, who want to support him and want to say he was set up. How can you be set up when you were 15-year-old, you 27? How can you be set up when camera using the bathroom on a 14, 15-year-old little girl? I don't know why the hell he act like this didn't happen. And he still, man, I don't know. Makes me want to throw up. You said I'm going in and out, bro. Okay. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to get it like this. Since the sound is going in and out, I don't know what's happening. Maybe I'm pissing somebody off. I have no explanation for why I'm apparently having tech issues. I don't know if it's YouTube. I don't know if it's StreamYard. I don't know what's happening. But as I was saying, and then I'm gonna close out in a few since we just not gonna get the tech to act right. Man, we got to stop. We got to stop the coddling and the supporting and just all this stuff with these pedos, man. And it starts with us. Well, not us, not those here within the sound of my voice, but our people supporting these homophiles, bro. Especially our women. Especially our women. That's one thing I don't understand. If there's any sisters out here that want to explain that to me one day, let me know. Why do y'all support these homophiles so much? I just need to know. Because I don't understand it. it opens up the door for all types of stuff. I wrote a blog about this 15 years ago, telling sisters, hey, watch out for dudes, sisters that have children, watch out for these dudes that come and wine you and dine you and tell you, how wonderful you are. And then they want to move in your house, and next thing you know, you going to work, they at home, your children at home with them, and we already know the outcome of this situation. I'm giving that warning again. I'm gonna keep giving that warning. It's those sisters who, for whatever reason, you don't have a man and you have children, or you're not with your child's father, or he locked up, or whatever the situation may be. You got to protect your children from these pedos. They out here. And you got to really observe them. And I'm just saying. And another thing, I'm gonna be honest. Don't be so quick to put your children on the internet. I did a radical report years ago where this European female, some pedo had got her picture off the internet and made a doll of it, a doll that you do stuff with. That type of stuff happens. And then it's crazy. I was looking at Law and Order, and they did an episode just like that. Like they when they would say rip from the headlines, they ripped that one from the headlines. I was like, wait a minute, I talked about this. And I know it might seem like it's extreme to be that protective, but we live in a savage, barbaric society. And Jeannie said it's taking on the satanic mantra of do what thou wilt. If everybody can do what they want, then eventually you have total chaos, and you're gonna have people victimizing people. Because if you're doing what you want, people, man, your society just collapses. And whenever you try, anybody tries to call people to the carpet, or whenever somebody tries to say something is wrong, or whenever somebody tries to say something is evil, or whenever somebody tries to say something shouldn't be done, everybody wants to attack the person that's trying to uphold some type of decency or morality. I ain't saying people got to be perfect. Hey, I ain't perfect. Y'all, you've been around me. Some of y'all know at times when I get upset, I'm cussing like a sailor. But I ain't no pedophile. I can tell you that much. And for those who have been watching my YouTube for a long time, I've done countless stories where in the 60s and the 70s, the homophiles have publicly stated as part of their platform, as part of their political agenda, to make it so that they have access to children. That's been the mission of theirs, publicly stated for 50 years. Go back through the archives and find it. I've been put it up here. I put the documentation up here. Documentation beats conversation. So when I tell you that you need to be extreme in protecting your children, it's because I know what I'm talking about. And can't nobody on earth defeat the argument, because I put the documentation out. So with that, brothers and sisters, thank you all for listening. I thank you all for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram at dc.radical1, at Twitter at dcradical_one. The OTW2 is Black-owned platform, is DC Radical 1. If you want to support the channel, you want to support the movement, you can hit the Cashapp, $DC Radical 1. You can email me at dc._radical1 at protonmail.com. Be on the lookout this week I think, episode 12 of DC's Radical Thoughts, the audio podcast, coming up on Friday. And I am working on a couple of radical reports dealing with a couple of different issues. One of them being there's a rabbi who was out here wilding. Y'all know I can't let that slide. So gotta do a report on that. And there's a couple of other issues that have happened recently. So be on the lookout for that. I thank you all for hanging in there with me through the tech issues and whatever in the world else was going on. And with that, I say BB for ODA and straight black pride. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow us on our other social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at dc.radical, the numeral 1. On Twitter, we're at dc_radical_ONE. And the Cashapp is $DC Radical 1. Again, thank you for subscribing. A BB for ODA and straight black pride.